Okay, so welcome. So this webinar is on how to develop clear and healthy intuition. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of information about the flow of this particular webinar. First, I'm going to go through quite a bit of content on how to develop clear and healthy intuition, how to work with it in your body, and a little bit of, if you've been on my calls before, on my webinars before, you might know that there's a bit of a healing aspect to it. So I'm definitely going to guide you through a bit of an experience in this webinar where you get to tune into yourself a little more. And I just advise you to really listen from that place, because there's a lot of information that you can take in through the mind, but this information is really about getting it in, like kind of more listening from your heart and tuning into yourself more, and letting it land where it lands for you. And I'm also going to talk at the very end of the program. I have this very exciting, it's exciting to me because it's a huge offering that I'm putting out there, and that's that the Healer Training Program is converted now. It's improved and advanced and expanded into an online format. So now the Healer Training Program is online, and we launch in September with the program. And I know the program isn't for everybody. It's for you if you are willing to go into the deep process and healing. And I imagine on some level many of you are here for that. A lot of people who are drawn to my work really want to go to the deeper places. So you might find that what I talk about in the program is interesting to you. So within the last 10 or 15 minutes of the call, I'm going to talk about the Healer Training Program. And then I'll save some space at the end for questions or anything that you want to ask about what we talked about in the webinar tonight, or any of the information in the webinar, and if there's any information about the Healer Training Program you'd like to know more about. So we'll go ahead and get started. Again, my name is Wendy De Rosa, and we'll just begin. I like to begin with a grounding meditation just to set the space. So go ahead and close your eyes and feel yourself lean back into your back body. So if any of your energy's been really forward inside yourself, you're going to imagine what it feels like just to lean back into yourself and take some deep breaths and settle in to the center of your body. And then feel that beneath the soles of your feet and beneath your sit bones is very strong roots. So beneath your feet there may be roots going down into the earth. And then around your hips and your sit bones, it's a wider pillar of light or tree trunk-like image. And that's your grounding cord. It connects deep into the center of the earth. And just allow yourself to settle into this space, into this healing, and into connecting in to your own intuitive self. And what's important to know when you go through this work tonight as we talk, is that you already are intuitive. So that's important to know. This isn't something that's outside of you. It already exists inside of you. It's just that we have blockages to our intuitive voice. And I'm going to talk about those blockages and what's there. But for here, in this moment as we're opening, just allow yourself permission, allow your intuitive self to have permission to be here, to have space to be felt and heard by you. And one aspect of intuition is your visionary sense, so your visualizations. So if you can imagine visualizing that there's a beautiful golden glow of light around the outside of your body. And that beautiful golden light is going to dissolve any tension from the day, anything that's other people's energy perhaps, or too much computer energy, or just a lot of rushing around, anything that might not be necessary for you to take another step forward with. Take some deep breaths and just feel or imagine or see a beautiful gold light around you. And that gold light shines in towards your body, and it detoxes, lets go, showers out any energy that does not belong to you. Take 3 deep breaths and let it go. Good. So I just ask that we have a very wonderful connected time this evening. You connecting to yourself. You'll hear me talk about some different things, but as they resonate within you, just continue to breathe and let yourself receive what you are here to take in. And if you have questions as we go, jot your questions down, and I can answer them at the end. And so we'll go ahead and begin with the topic for tonight's call is how to develop clear and healthy intuition. So why clear and healthy intuition versus intuition? Well, our body, our intuitive body, we have a lot of voices inside ourselves, and whether our clear intuition, our centered intuition, is really our spirit speaking. That's ultimately our intuition, is when our soul speaks through our consciousness. So what we're thinking and feeling and sensing beneath the surface or on a subconscious level comes through our awareness. That's intuition. And unfortunately, we also have wounds in our body, or we have life experience inside of us, or we have history or stories inside our system that also speak. And they get confused or muddled with our intuition. And I wonder, I mean, maybe even you could think back to a time where maybe you've asked somebody their intuitive advice and it wasn't right. It didn't feel right to you. Maybe it felt a bit loaded, or it felt like it was kind of charged with their own feelings or worry or concern or something like that. And maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But oftentimes our intuition can be fueled by our own life experience, which is can be a good thing, but it can also be that it's infused with a little bit of our own charge, our own emotional wounds into the information, and it doesn't necessarily feel clean or clear. And what we're working towards here in developing intuition is that your center is very clear, and that you are connected and grounded in yourself in a way where you hear your voice, your intuitive voice, more fully, more clearly. So I'm just going to give you a couple visuals on what I'm talking about when I say clear center. So first, we have a pillar of light, and again, if you've been on my calls and webinars, you've heard me talk about it a bazillion times. It runs above your head, and it connects to the flow of divine grace that comes into the top of your head, comes in vertically. And the pillar, it's pretty wide. It's actually as wide as your shoulders, and it encompasses all of your body and your energy field, your auric field. So your pillar of light is your clear center that runs through your entire body. And we also have something called the Sushumna channel. And the Sushumna channel is an actual meridian in the body that parallels, or it goes along the length of the spine. So it parallels the spine. And that meridian carries life force energy to all the other meridians throughout your whole body, through your entire river system. And the way energy healing works, or energy in the body, stored in the body works, is that when there is a block, when there is a life experience that has impacted us pretty deeply into the center of our body, then we form, basically, if you can imagine, there's a river that flows and a rock that gets thrown into the center of the river, and then the river either spills out to the sides, overflows the riverbank, or it has to divert a different direction. It goes off track, and it's not running clear and smooth. That's what happens in our meridian system, in our channels in our body. So we have about 72,000 known meridians in our body, and there could be tens of thousands more. But when we have this clear channel, this clear pillar from the crown of our head all the way down to our tailbone, when we feel that engaged, whether or not there are blocks there, sometimes there are, but when we focus on the wounds or we focus on the pain in our system, we don't focus on the light. We're not really taught about the energetic anatomy in our anatomy classes in school growing up. So it's sort of a re-education of the energetic system, or of our physical bodies, that we have this energy system. So the pillar runs from the crown of the head down to the pelvic floor, the tailbone. And that is our center. That is our center. And actually nothing should be in the center of our being except for us and the divine, our divine self, like our pure spirit in connection with source. That's all that should be in there. Unfortunately, we have life experiences that have created deep impact. And the way impact works in the body is that, we're creating a visual here. So the way impact works is that when we have a life experience that has an impact on us, like we're taken aback, or something comes into deeply into the body, it literally penetrates the energy field and goes in deeper into the body. Some of our life experiences don't go in that deeply, so we can kind of shake it off. Like, oh, that was weird, or that was unfortunate, but it didn't rock me. And then we have those life experiences that rock us. And those life experiences are the ones that get into the core of ourselves, and they become core wounds. So when we have a core wound deep within our system, in our energetic body, and like in the pillar, for example, and we have our intuition and the light, we have our true center, our true light in our system, and then we have this other wound that's talking, and we don't know it's talking. It's just we don't even know it's there. It's been there for so long. We're probably used to it being there. But when someone says, if you, for example, have an invitation to go speak somewhere, and you have a core wound around public speaking that actually isn't even about public speaking, it's just about speaking your truth, then it's possible that your intuition is going to say, oh, no, that's actually not safe for me to do that. And you know what? Your intuition might be right. It might not be safe for you in that moment to do that, because it's going to hit the wound, because it's going to bring the wound up. So in developing clear intuition, the work becomes, I need to address the wounds in my system, the blocks, the things that keep me from feeling powerful, clear, and centered. And I want to say, to be clear about power, when I say powerful, I'm not using that word in terms of plowing anyone over or, misusing power or energy at all. It's that each of our body has power centers. Each of our chakras in the center of our pillar, we have 7 embodied chakras. We actually have a few more, but for the sake of more common knowledge, we have 7 embodied chakras. And these power centers, these chakras, they're power centers. They hold power on how we are here to be in this world. So, for example, your throat chakra is a power center on how to hold vocal boundaries, speak up for yourself, speak your truth, and deeply listen. Like very deeply listen to yourself and your intuition. That's a power. It's a power to have a voice, to be expressive, to speak your will, divine will, to speak the highest good through the throat. That's the gift, is that we speak through that power center. And if that power center is blocked, we're not using that power. It's a suppressed power, or it's a leaking power. There's a block there that's keeping that area of the body powerful. So when I say step into our power, I actually saying stepping into all the power centers in the body and connecting to them in a healthy way. So that's one aspect of our of clear and healthy intuition, is to be able to recognize that there's power in your system, and that as you hold your center or visualize this pillar of light in your body and you run divine light through it, you're clearing out the wounds in the body, in the central pillar, and down through your grounding cord and into the earth. So that's a tool, a way that you can work with it. Now, it's not the easiest to just run light through your system and boom, there, a wound is gone. It sometimes takes awareness and work to actually clear your wounds. And this is something we work with in the healer training program. So remember when I said a core wound will sit in the central pillar of the body. The way we heal is by consciousness. We heal when we become aware of something that stopped us, or something that was when we heal when we become aware of our subconscious wounds, when they come to consciousness. The way that happens is when a core wound starts to heal. It starts to move to the periphery of the body. We heal from inside out. So energetically, if we're healing a deep wound of betrayal, for example, that's a painful wound. I mean, betrayal hits the spirit. That's a deep one. So when there has been betrayal, it's a core wound. It sits in the pillar. So as you start to feel the feelings of that betrayal, recognize it's there, process some emotions and the experience, the wound starts to move more and more to the periphery as you do your process. So that journey from the central pillar out to the edge of your energy field could take 50 years. I mean, it could take a long time. It just depends on how dedicated you are to tuning into your own healing process. So the work is to identify what's really core. Like, what is really stopping me from stepping into my true self and shining through my power centers. So for example, in my heart, what's keeping me from loving, or from allowing love, or from being open? I'm so cynical, I'm so shut down, I'm so protective, I'm scared, I'm nervous. What is all that? You tune in and check into what is there on the core level. And you might find that it's some personal experience in the past that needs support. It needs attention. It needs to not go neglected or even have any denial around it. It needs to be seen. So the process that process needs, sometimes you can't do that on your own. That's many people, and that's why we have therapists, that's why we have healers, that's why we have practitioners who can really help with that process. So know that sometimes in the healing of our own wounds, we do have to ask for help. And that is good. That's a good thing, to have to ask for help. Don't be afraid of that, or even shamed that you have wounds, because we all do. I do. Everyone does. We all have our wounds, and we do our best to work through them and to live the best life we're here to live. So in terms of clear and healthy intuition, when that wound or when that energy starts to free up from the central pillar and it's moved out to the periphery, into the energy field, it starts to move away, and then you have a different relationship to that wound. It used to be, oh my God, that one like took the life out of me every time I thought about it, or every time I thought of this person, I just fume with anger. To once you start healing that, then you change your relationship to the history, to the past. So where that experience, when you recall upon it again, it doesn't have such a deep resonance in the body. You don't feel it the way you felt it before you went through your healing. So that's how we heal energetically. It's not that the experience goes away. It's that your relationship to the experience dissolves, it heals. More specifically, it's that your relationship to your emotions shift. So this is another level or step in how to develop clear and healthy intuition, and that is your emotions. It's recognizing that your emotions are everything. It's every wound in your system, in anyone's system, comes down to emotions. We had an experience that created an emotion at the time, and either that emotion was recognized in that moment or it wasn't. It was suppressed, there was shock, it wasn't dealt with, whatever it was at the time, and our system takes a snapshot of that and stores it for later. So now we've got a suppressed emotion. That, and this I'm generalizing, I'm giving like a general description on how or analogy of how that can work. So now you've got a wound in the body, it's a suppressed emotion. Well, when you think about the emotion of fear, I mean, if fear were to speak, what's it going to tell you to do? It's going to say every time you take a risk, or you address somebody directly, or you go for your dreams, it's gonna have a fearful response. It's gonna say things that'll stop you from growing or excelling or succeeding, because the fear wants to keep you bonded to the wound. It wants to keep you wounded. That's safe. That's the safe thing. Our spirit wants us to evolve, wants us to grow, wants us to step more fully into ourselves. So we have to have an awareness in developing intuition that there are two things functioning at the same time. There's our ego, or our wounds, we'll call it, and your spirit. So when there is an emotion, what's so valuable in developing intuition is that you step outside of the emotion and you look at it, and you give yourself permission to have that emotion. And you let this voice, this parent voice, or this self voice, the higher self voice, say to the emotion, it's okay. It's okay that you're angry. It's okay that you're sad. It's okay that you feel alone. It's okay. And you give yourself permission to have that emotion. And when you do that, you're strengthening your spirit. You're allowing your spirit to give permission to the body to heal. Otherwise, what ends up happening is that emotion gets bigger than the spirit voice. And that's where intuition gets clogged. It's when the wounded ego voice is louder than the spirit voice. It's when the wounds are louder than the spirit. So recognize every time there is an emotion, and this takes practice. I can't, I get it. Like in the moment, how I'm triggered. How do I come out of my trigger? It takes practice to really recognize and to say to yourself, it's okay for me to have an emotion. It's okay for me to feel my feelings. It's okay. This is part of being human. I have an emotion. I'm not going to beat myself up over it. I'm not going to be somebody else's voice that used to beat me up for it. I'm not going to mirror any of that. I'm going to let myself have it. This is so crucial in developing intuition because your emotions are what will stop the clear intuition from happening. So know that your soul has every ability, a complete ability to love yourself through any circumstance, any emotional trigger, any life circumstance. You have the strength within you to hold yourself in your emotions. How do you have that strength? When you lean back into your pillar of light and you let that light come in through the top of your head and come all the way down through your body, you are plugging in to source. You are plugging into something bigger than you. And that channel of light coming into you strengthens your spirit. You are not alone. So anytime you are in a trigger and the automatic response is to react out of that trigger, do your best to lean back into that pillar of light, to take some deep breaths, to call yourself back in. Another way of saying this is take 2 steps back and take 10 deep breaths. That's another way of saying it. Calm your body down. Breathe into the emotion. Give yourself permission for having it. And then let it go. Give yourself as much time as you need to come through. Something will shift. Something will happen. You will get a revelation. Somebody will call. You'll think to connect with someone. You'll see a sunset. I don't know. Something will happen that will shift that moment. Reactions are a moment. So something will happen if you give yourself attention to hold the feeling. So another aspect of healthy intuition is that when you feel emotional, or when you feel or allow yourself to have your emotions, you're also connecting to a very, very important intuitive voice inside you, and that's your inner child. So you might have heard that one many times. Your inner child is it's the young part of you that is actually really wise, like very wise, knows exactly what you need, knows exactly what she needs, he needs. And what happens a lot in life is that we project our needs. Like, if you don't give to me what I need, if you don't act this way, because I need you to act this way so I'm okay, then I'm going to be mad at you, or I'm not going to feel safe with you. We project our needs. We want the other person or the situation to be set up just so that we feel safe or we feel okay. Well, it's not exactly intuition. It's not supporting the intuition in the body. Intuition, in terms of the inner child inside us, has so much clarity about what we need. We have to tune in to the inner child. And you may find that the inner child says, actually, I just need a nap. I just need rest. I need attention. I need love. This gesture of reaching into yourself, closing your eyes, taking some deep breaths, and tuning into your inner child's voice is an act of self-love. Complete act of self-love, to tune in to yourself at that level. So we might even think, I'll get a massage, I'll go get treatments, I'll do all these pampering things for my self-care, but still not reach the level of self-love. And believe me, sometimes it's important to get massages, and acupuncture and all those things are part of self-love as too. But not if it's negating the deep inner need inside you. So as you tune in to that inner child and you allow the inner child to express how he or she feels in that moment, you are gaining very, very deep emotional intuition. And this is important when it comes to people who are, the word is clairsentient, people who feel other people's energy. This is very, very important that you get very keen on the inner child, because the inner child is going to help you distinguish between your emotions versus other people's emotions. So a lot of times people will say to me, how do I not take on the energy of others? How do I not take on the energy of others? Do I put, boundaries around me? Do I push everyone back? Why am I absorbing so much negative energy? And it's not about other people. It's actually about your system's own ability to hold center, to know your own intuitive voice and your own emotional center more deeply. So tuning into your inner child and hearing him or her is going to help you hold your emotional center and get very intimately connected with yourself. From there, you sit inside yourself solid. Your energy anchors in, you sit, you hold your center, and when you hold your center, you have no vacancies for anything else to come in. You don't attract it. You're like, the inn is not open. There's no vacancies. You are expanding with your light. You're holding your center. And as you radiate and expand your light, you are protected from within. And of course, you can put some purple light around the outside of you, or a shield around the outside of you if you feel like you need more. That's absolutely fine. But the true protection and the true sense of the true protection comes from holding your center and not leaving any vacancies of self in that area. So connecting to your inner child is incredibly, incredibly important for developing your intuition. Another thing here is your grounding. We opened in the beginning with a grounding cord image from the center of the hips to from around our hips to the center of the earth. And if you've been on my calls and webinars, you've heard that one from me a bazillion times, and maybe from others. The grounding cord image is crucial. It's crucial for grounding the body, for bringing our energy in and centered into ourself and down. And here's why it's so important for intuition, is that there's a natural flow of life force energy from the root chakra downward. And it's called apana. It's the apana wind, or the apana vayu. Vayu means wind. It naturally moves down. And this is just biology in our body. This is the natural flow of energy. And if apana, the wind, is reversed and going up because we're ungrounded, we're running around, we're going through something that's emotional, that's disconnecting us, or we have something going on, if that apana force is reversed, it sends the whole system into upheaval. So it upsets digestion, and it makes the energy rise up towards the heart. The heart starts to spin, so it increases anxiety. We're not always in control of how we speak. We might be speaking off the top of our head, and then the head races, the mind races, and we've got mental chatter and a lot of craziness going on in the mind, and our thoughts are racing and we're not clear. Grounding is everything, and not just grounding ourselves down, but grounding ourselves in, because it's very natural for our energy to go out to the periphery of our body. That's a natural way our energy will move because we engage in the world. It's harder to call our energy in. Like, that part takes work, is to bring the energy into the center. So grounding every day, grounding can be that image, meditating on that image of the grounding cord and letting your energy come in, and take some deep breaths and center. Grounding can also be sleeping, making sure you're getting a lot of rest, so your yin, your deep reserve of energy can replenish. Grounding can also be being in nature and just taking your time. Grounding is very slow. It's very slow energy. And so we do have to slow our pace down quite a bit to ground into ourselves. So know that grounding is crucial in your intuitive development. Once you are grounded, the mind is still, the heart settles down, the digestion can also settle down. You feel more rooted in your legs and your feet. And once you are centered, you can start again tuning into the little child within, or hearing your own intuitive voice inside yourself. Now, I just want to talk about, there's a lot of information here, I know. So a few minutes, I want to talk about the 4 different levels of intuition. And I go really in depth with this within the training program, in the healer training program. So I'm going to say a couple things about intuition, because intuition does work differently in different parts of our body. So we can be intuitive by receiving messages, but we can also be intuitive by seeing images or hearing information. Messages can come through us through songs or through words. We can also feel people's energy. So there's different ways we use our intuition. So what's important for you to know is, what's your way? Like, how do you tune in? How do you get information? How does your body get and feel into information? So the word is clairvoyant, meaning, do you see energy? Do you get pictures, images? Are you a visual person? An idea, like big ideas person, and you can see the big vision, and ideas come to you really easily. You're like the visionary, yet details are a little harder. So that's a gift of more visual intuition. There's also, well, I'll say this. People who are visually intuitive, they're clairvoyant, your work is to ground yourself, because this area of the brain, clairvoyant intuition is a power of the third eye center. The third eye center is between the brow and the back of the head, so it sits in the center of the cranium. And this power center, if you're visually intuitive, you actually can gather a lot of information through the brain, and or through your senses here. But sometimes it can be really ungrounded. So you can be I'm seeing this for you, and I'm sensing this, and you will say, well, what do these images mean? What do these pictures and images mean? Well, if that happens for you, it means ground yourself more and down into your lower body, because you have to connect to yourself and more the emotional part of your system to be able to translate the images that you're seeing. Sometimes they mean nothing, sometimes they're just subconscious images, and sometimes they mean something. But it's going to be your own intuitive ability in the lower half of your body that's going to help you interpret what those intuitive visions are. So that's for the clairvoyant type. If you are an auditory intuitive, meaning a clairaudient, means you hear clearly. That means that you might have a combination of actually the third eye or the back of the third eye, and the back of the throat chakra is very open and clear for you. And you might also have a very clear throat chakra. And people who find themselves receiving messages or words, or you're very good with your voice, you're very good with your speaking, you download information very easily, you get into a creative flow and you just go, then my recommendation for you is to keep writing, keep an outlet going for what comes through to you, either journaling or listening to music or performing or speaking or singing music, or journaling. Keep that flow going so that the messages that are coming down through you are coming from higher source, your higher self, and you'll find that pipeline will strengthen over time. So you just have to give it an outlet rather than taking in the messages and going, I don't know what that is, or this is confusing to me, or I don't know if I trust it. Just start free writing it. Give it space to come out. That's a power that's activated there, and a gift. So we need to use our gifts. So it's good to keep that journaling going. If you are somebody who is clairsentient, so that means you feel. You're empathic. You feel what's going on around you. I said this earlier, that people who are empathic, our work is to hold our center, and our work is boundaries. Is how do you hold a very clear boundary in your center and keep yourself in yourself and let the other person be in themselves, and be able to read or feel into something without taking it on. That is an entire process. On how to learn how to do that is something we go very in depth with in the healer training program, because it actually requires healing some wounds in the second and third chakras. Those are the power centers that are the empathic power centers. So we take in information through the second and third. Those are our feeling or our emotional power centers. So how we hold our center there, like I was saying before, when there's no room at the end, you're expanding your power out in that area. How you hold your power there is what's going to help you be a better, or clearer intuitive in that area of the body. If you are, that's what I want to say there. Okay, so if you are somebody who just knows, you have no idea if you're clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient, or how you get information, how your intuition works, you have no idea. You're most likely claircognizant, which is someone who just knows. You just get the hit. It probably comes through your whole being. You might hear it, you might feel it, you might sense it. It's kind of a mix of all of it. Or you just get this deep knowing in your gut. Most likely you're claircognizant. And that, just be sure that if claircognizant feels true for you, then you are connecting to the deep knowing inside you, and you are connecting through the backside of your solar plexus to your pillar of light, and you are building confidence. I mean, across the board, for intuitive development, it requires trust and faith and confidence. But especially if you're getting information you're not clear on, anchor yourself in, lean back into that pillar of light and allow the divine hand to be at the back of your solar plexus, and lean into that. And start to receive support. Imagine that that hand is at your back and it's guiding your intuitive being forward. Now remember, with intuition, it's not rational, so it won't always make sense. It's a very felt experience. You're using a completely different sense in your body. So you have to lean in, feel, sense, tune in, essentially turn the rational mind off and really drop into your body. The more dropped in and grounded and centered and anchored you are, the more intuitive you are, the more intuitive you will be. If you find that all of these are your gift, you're clairvoyant, you're clairaudient, you're clairsentient, and you know it, and claircognizant, and you know, I'm actually all of them, then it's possible you got very overwhelmed in your life with all of it, and might have seen it as a problem, and because it's so, another way of saying it is overly sensitive. And one of the major crucial aspects of intuition is knowing that sensitivity and intuition is absolutely a gift. Absolutely a gift. And if you see it as a gift and get the proper nurturing and training on how to perceive all the intuitive gifts in your being and how your power works and why your soul is here and what your soul's journey is here, you become a whole being. You're not just a mind. You're not just someone with a lot of degrees. You're not someone who's been through a lot of, you've met other people's expectations. You're someone who's gone through the whole body, mind, spirit education of yourself, knowledge of yourself, and wisdom of yourself. The last thing I want to say is that your heart chakra is one of the most powerful power centers in the body for intuition. And it is an expanding and growing power center that right now for everybody. Everybody's hearts are opening. And what that means is that everybody's feeling called to something in their life, in themselves. They're called to change. They're called to fulfill a mission. They're called to step into something in their life. And the confusion is, what is that? Like, what am I here to do? And just because you're asking yourself that question, who am I? What's my purpose? What am I here to do? It's a really good sign. It means that you have an activated heart chakra right now. And the journey is to go into your heart, explore more of your intuitive being and who your spirit is. How does your spirit connect? It's about spiritual enrichment right now more than it is about just paying the bills or surviving. It's that your heart wants something more for you. It's that your spirit wants something more for you. So these are my tips here on developing intuition. And I said at the very beginning that I would save a little time just to talk about the healer training program because we're launching. I'm so excited. So I just want to say that if it feels like you are wanting to get deeper inside yourself, inside your spiritual anatomy, you'd like to learn more about it, you'd like to learn more about your intuition, you would like to understand your power centers in your body, and you'd like to heal your own old wounds and live more divinely connected, the Healer Training Program is a fantastic program. I've just added a bunch of things to it, a bunch of content to it, newer content, and it's now available worldwide. So starting September 1st, the program launches, and it's amazing. It's for people who are really committed to deeper healing. It's for if you want to develop your intuition more clearly. It's if you're willing to make big shifts and if you need support. And this program, it's life-changing. I mean, everyone that's taken the program so far has said it's changed their life. They didn't really realize, they thought they were learning some skills on healing work, but they didn't realize it was going to make them a better wife, a better mother, a better parent, a better, spouse, or even a better in their profession. It advances you as a human being. And the way this works is I want to make sure the right people are in the program, the people who really do want to work, who aren't afraid of diving in deep and making major shifts. And I will challenge you. I will challenge you. We are very good. We're very good at keeping our wounds going, whether we are consciously aware of that or not. And some of it isn't even intentional. We don't even know that we're nurturing the wounds instead of nurturing the spirit. So my work in supporting you is helping you really move through the hard, stuck places. The hard, stuck places. I just had this experience with one of the recent trainings where I am so proud of this one woman. I mean, she hit her wall, and she was mad, and she was mad at me, and she was just not. Oh, she hit every level of anger and judgment inside her body until, and all I did was hold loving space. I let her be mad at me. I knew it wasn't about me. I knew it was probably about, her mom or parent. I held space. I let her be that way. And I just kept giving her a loving reflection. She went into herself and just broke down and saw all the places in her life where she held judgment towards others and towards herself. And she blamed and judged everyone. And it was making her miserable. It was making her miserable. And she saw it, and she had this revelation, and a huge catharsis. And she ended up showing up a completely transformed person by the end. I mean, it was like, she's not even the same person. It was amazing, amazing, amazing. So just know that there is room for you in this program to experience a major change inside yourself, and know that you have support in that change. We have some assistants who help with the program and help you stay on course, and also are there if you have questions or anything that you want to say, or anything, just if you're struggling, you need guidance, we're there for you. I'm there for you. We do bi-weekly calls, or I should say webinars, because I know the FaceTime is important for people. And it's just a powerful, powerful program. And just here in the last few minutes, I'll just tell you, so to work with me normally, if you were to work with me on a weekly basis, which is what the training program is, it's a weekly basis for 9 months to a year. So you have a year to complete the program. It's about 9 months of content, but we give you some space to, schedules are busy, so we give you some time. So, but if you were to work with me on a weekly basis, it would be, for private sessions, it would be about $10,400 to do individual work for a year. This program is, the cost of the program for the year is $4,995. And if you register, if you're one of the first 15 people who register for this program, then you're going to you can receive $1,500 off the cost. It's actually $1,495 off the tuition price, so it brings it to $3,500 if you're one of the first 15 people who register for the program. And the way that you would proceed from here is you'd go to my website, School of Intuitive Studies, and click on Find Out More. That sends an email to me. Actually, fill out a little content, sends an email to me. I will email you back and set up a time for us to talk. Because again, I want to make sure the program's right for you. I want to make sure, it's a match, and, you're going in the right direction. So if you have any questions about that, about the program, if you have any questions about the webinar, I'm happy to take any questions now at this time. You'd have to write them in the chat box below, There's a lot of people on the call, so I can try to unmute us. It's just loud when we do. But I'll wait here for a minute or a little less, maybe 30 seconds, if anyone has any questions. Otherwise, I'll just go ahead and unmute us, and if it's loud, I'll remute, but I'd happy to take any vocal questions. Okay. So does anybody have any questions? You're unmuted at this time. Any questions?
Wendy?
Yes?
Are you taking payment plans?
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. I forgot. It's we have we have 4 options for payment plans. There's a pay in full, there's 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months. So yes, there are payment plans. If you send in find out more and you fill out the information, you'll get an autoresponder email that will have all the content. It'll have all the information about the payment plans on that email. So you can read it and click on it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Oh, yeah, that's great. My mom says I use reading to as a way to find sources of intuitive causes. Yeah, there's a lot of books out there that help with developing intuition. I love Carolyn Mace's Anatomy of the Spirit as a foundational book. Is there homework? Yes, there is homework. You will have assignments in the training program. So the way it works is you do submit your homework to me. I do read your homework. I may not respond individually, but I will respond on the calls. That's when we'll talk about it. So on our individual calls in the program, I will talk about, that's how I track where you are, basically, is by reading your homework. So I get an update on where you are. We talk about it on the program, on the call. I answer questions, and then I also will guide, any other information that is coming through, or the calls just really depend on what's needed in that moment, and I just stay in tuned with you on what that is. Yeah. Any other questions? And just as people are thinking about it, the last thing I'll say is this is being recorded. So if you're going to get an email that will give you a link to the recording. So if what I was saying felt like you wanted to listen back, there'll be a recording you can listen back to. I think you can watch it actually. Any other questions?
Hi, Wendy.
Hi.
It's Asta.
Who is this?
It's Asta.
Hi, Asta.
Hi.
How are you? I miss you.
You look good.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you for this, and to anybody who's listening, I've been through Wendy's program, and I just want to endorse it because it really was a life-changing experience. So I can't thank you enough, over and over.
Thank you.
And also, I have a kind of question. I have seems to be very sensitive daughter. I really don't know how to support her. Like, I know how to support her at home when she sees something or feels something, but I don't know, like, when she goes out in school and she gets hit with stuff, I still not sure how to support her.
Yeah, okay. Is she, when you say she gets hit, do you mean you don't mean physically?
No, not physically,
Yeah.
but I mean, she senses things, she feels things, and even, like, she says, oh, I don't have friends that fit me.
Okay. Does she
feels it's not right. Like, she says, the friends are, I can't find just right friends for me.
You what?
Like,
she says.
She says, I can't find friends that fit me or are right for me.
Yeah.
I feel I feel like she senses that something, whatever, even if they're nice. There's something missing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Does she does she have any close friends? Or is it everywhere? Does she feel alone in it, or does she have anyone she bonds to?
She has friends, but like there are days that it's good, and then there are days that are not.
Yeah.
Like suddenly she says, "Well, she was mean to me today," or
Mm-hmm.
whatever I said it upset her.
Yeah. So there's kind of a lot. I mean, it's interesting because I would actually answer this question at different stages of her development. How old is she now?
8.
8. So one of the things I would say at this stage is that is to keep giving her a connection for her emotions. Keep letting her know that it's okay that she feels the way she feels. Like give her a connection for it, and give her an outlet for her feelings, because she's going to need to not sit with that or be victimized by the feelings that she's having all the time, because she'll make herself wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And then
I made her write a journal.
What?
I made her write a journal.
Yeah. Okay.
Just write things.
Yeah. And you know what else I don't know if this is the type of relationship you have with her, but I would perhaps even ask her to imagine her angels surround her.
Yeah, I do that.
You do that too. Yeah. Does it help her?
Seems to be. She actually said she saw her guardian. She described her guardian angel and her name and everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's when we figured like she seems to see things.
Right. Okay. I mean, she's clearly like she has a gift, you know? So it's how do you let her have the gift and not make her wrong for anything, just keep giving her connection for emotions. And she's probably going to need boundaries set a little bit. Like she might have to push back sometimes in her way, to say, no, that's not okay for me. Or I don't like it, that hurts my feelings when you do that. She might need to use her voice to actually set some boundaries rather than taking it and walking away and coming home with it.
Yeah, she has a hard time with that.
Yeah. Well, that might be what she needs to do to just step forward more in herself, to strengthen her boundaries.
Okay.
It's like even finding the right words that she could use, because she's probably a sweet kid. She doesn't want to, tell anyone off, but sometimes it gets to that point if someone picks on her enough, you blow up, So is there a way that she can say, you can give her a little language for what to say when people come at her, that she can give it back? Give their energy back.
Yeah, we'll have to work on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm not sure what to do in these things, so it's good to hear that, I try to listen to my own intuition and give her advice. But, I still doubt it, so it's good to hear it from you.
That you were right. That your intuition was on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aw. That's good to hear your voice.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? I know we're just a bit over time here, but I can take another question. Oh, Asta, my mom says she'll pray for your daughter. Oh, she says tell her to pray for her daughter. My mom says pray for your daughter.
I always do, yeah.
Any other questions? No? Well, I thank you guys for calling in, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was informative and good. And I'm gonna have another webinar at the end of August, so I'll look for the emails on that. That'll be coming out soon. I've got a few more videos coming out to you too, so you'll be getting some more information from me pretty soon on some more content. So Thank you all very much. And
Thank you, Wendy.
you're welcome.
Wendy.
And we'll talk very soon. We'll connect soon.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.